You came in with the breeze on Sunday morning. Sure, I've changed in just a day without any warning. I thought I knew you. Whoa! I thought I knew you. Whoa! I thought I knew you well. I love No Doubt because they're so fucking bassy. I don't think Coachella deserved No Doubt this year. I will say that. I don't know if it's going to be cut out or left in, but if it is, fuck that. There are a whole bunch of bands that Coachella didn't deserve this year. They didn't deserve Lana. They didn't deserve Billy. They didn't deserve fucking No Doubt. They didn't deserve Blur. Because the crowds were screaming so loud over the fucking bands. This has nothing to do with 420, but this is the fucking bonus episode of the podcast where you're getting the podcast and everything all together. You're going to be slapping everything because I'm so excited. Jesus. Here we go. It's another Sunday morning for me, obviously. It's another Monday, probably evening bowl of fucking goodness for you guys. Oh my God. It's just not that easy being green. That's my best Kermit the Frog impression while I'm still holding my breath because welcome to another edition of 21st Century Rocker Mom Podcast. I'm just being a dink with me, your host, with the most and the toast on 420. Making the most of this podcast. Danny Candler, I'm just here hanging out with you. What else am I going to do? Since we have a very weird palindromic, and well, I don't know if that's a word or if I just made it up right now, 420, as they call it, April 20th, the pot day. And so let's burn one. Not in real life. Like, I mean, let's talk about it. Let's tune in and turn on and actually listen. Actually, don't drop out. Don't drop out! That'd be bad. First, this year was 4/20/2024, which is the same frontwards, which is backwards, which is a palindrome. And I think that that's fascinating because I love palindromes. Now, you probably saw me post about these Mary Jones, like the Mary Janes, like the band that Rick James put together as backup singers. And I'm in love with Mary Jane. I love Rick James and I love the Mary Janes. And I posted about this. I was listening to Sugar Jones, and this is called Mary Jones. It's like a Jones soda, but it's just got other things in it for however you celebrate your 420. I just wanted to see what color it was. Oh my God. Look at this. It looks like a Smurf peed in it. It's like a berry lemonade one, but you know what? It came highly recommended, and it tastes lovely. So first, I'm going to just, have it straight out of the hose. But after that, I'll drink it out of a cup like a lady. I gotta keep my whistle wet during these marathon conversations that I have with you. But like I say, it was a palindrome this year, so that's why I say it was palindromic as I mentioned before, and it was like a palindrome year, so it's the same frontwards as backwards. I mean, it's also marijuana is legal in the north here in Canada, where I come from, personally, in Ontario. So there's definitely been a shift on how and why we celebrate a holiday to elevate marijuana, and that's like not a pun like intended there. I remember back in the day, like we were going to high school and we'd skip school, even though we got out at like 2:40. We'd skip school all day to go downtown and smoke weed in Victoria Park for 4:20 or whatever, but like it would be 4:20 like the actual time, like way after we got off school. So like it didn't even make sense. We skipped school to just piss off cops because they'd stand there and watch us. We'd be like peaceful. Every once in a while there'd be some jackass that'd get on a line and get us all in shit. It's like if you're all nice, no one's gonna bother you. But if one of you steps on the line and is a little punk asshole, then you're gonna get bopped. I kept my nose clean. Never got the bop. So that's what I say. I didn't have any run-ins with any police officers on any marijuana holidays. Like I say, we used to just go downtown and smoke weed surrounded by police officers because it wasn't legal then. So obviously this was an act of teenage resistance and defiance and rebelliousness, but also a very peaceful way to kind of celebrate what folks call a green day and celebrate like a plant. We were really peaceful like about it. We didn't bug anybody. We weren't hosing anybody. I see kids now and they're out like vaping, swearing at people, vaping inside the mall. Like that was not us when we were teenagers, and that was not our pot kind of culture. It's gotten out of fucking hand today, and I will talk about that later, about age appropriation, what I think is an appropriate age to be smoking weed and fucking dabbling and all that shit. What I think now as a parent, it's through different fucking completely different fucking eyes. Completely different eyes. We're all, about dancing and having a little picnic and passing the Dutchie. That's what we were all about as teenagers. And just enjoying, like, the sunshine. And, like, I'm not, like, that old. Like, this is a fact. Like, I'm not that old. Pot was so different then. Like, it actually got you hella stoned. Like, when you smoked weed, like, you were high. It's not like your designer pot of today where you get to go into the dispensary and speak to a bud tender and get to design your buzz or whatever. You tell them exactly what you want. It says, this will make you feel sleepy, happy, euphoric, creative, dreamy. Like, it's like, wow. Describes everything that's going to happen. It's like they tell you everything about like whatever you're going to buy, right? It's like going into like Starbucks and have a big description. It's almost like going to the dispensary. You can look at it, you can smell it, you can find out all about its properties. Get some cannabis education. But I'll tell you, even if you go to your local weed shop, homegrown is always really a lot stronger. Because I think the government has definitely sucked some of the THC out of the weed that they legalized. I will definitely say that. We never talked about, when I was a kid, like, we never talked about strains or, like, breeds. We just, like, we knew the difference between, like, indica and sativa. Like, if you don't know the difference between those, one makes you kind of up and the other one makes you kind of sleepy. We knew the difference between those, but, like, we'd ask for, like, a dime bag. We wouldn't ask for, like, a particular strain. Like, now there's, like, Bubba Kush, and there's, Pink Kush, there's Skywalker, there's Chem Dog, there's so many kinds of strains that I learn about because, go to the bud store, they tell you all the strains. There's this haze and that haze. This was even like a berry lemonade. It's a haze. But like I say, like, not until college did I have like a hookup dude that, like, where we went to like his house. You'd go to his house and he had like different jars of it, and he'd like let you look at it with a magnifying glass and tell you, oh, this one does this, and he'd have names for it. So that's when we got into that culture, because we never called it anything. We're just like, hey, can I get a dime bag? Hey, I got $10. Like, what can I get? That was like in high school, which in my opinion, and we'll talk about that later, is too young to be smoking weed. But also, like, I don't know, like, when I got into college, I got into people that were like dealing pot that were like Pineapple Express people. It's like, even like if you thought you were going to be there for 5 minutes, you couldn't leave their house. I don't know if this ever happened to you, but like I used to pick up from like a few people, and like, oh my gosh, like, you could never leave their fucking house. There'd always be something. They'd rope you into a conversation, or they'd try to rope you into like a session where you'd smoke, and like, you'd be like, no, sorry, I can't smoke and drive or whatever. And they'd be like, oh, come on, it'll be fine. And you're just like, no, you're trying to politely say, hey, I don't want to be fucked up and drive. Thank you. Like, I don't like that. That's one thing I do not condone with consuming any cannabis product. Driving after. What the fuck, man? That's some fucked up shit. That's like drunk driving. Don't consume anything like that and drive. If you're under the influence of anything, even I don't care if it's a Robaxaset, don't go and drive. It's stupid. You're stupid if you do it. You're stupid. I'll say, but like, pot dealers have this weird thing, and I don't know what it is. They just don't want you to leave their house ever, because I think that they're there a lot by themselves. So when you come over, they're just like, company. And then they talk to you about everything under the sun. And it's amazing. But it's everyone's got this story. And you got to find some excuse to get the fuck out of there. And how do you do that? It's hard. How was your 420? How was your 420? How was the pot holiday for you? Think about it. Mine was actually awesome. I spent until about 3 p.m. until 3 p.m. on 420 sober as a judge, like stone cold sober as a matter of fact, because I didn't consume anything because I was driving. And this is a huge no-no. And this is something I always talk about and I will always advise about. Like I just said, you don't drive on this stuff or under the influence of anything because it fucks with your judgment. Then you can make a decision that can hurt you or hurt someone else that didn't make that decision for themselves. So don't fuck around and don't consume things. Don't think just because it's weed, you can drive or whatever, just because you think it's mild or whatever, you think you can drive. It screws with your judgment. I don't care what anyone says. Don't drive when you're impaired or under the influence. Stay home, get someone to drive you, grab an Uber, drive a taxi, take the bus, walk, drive your bike, do whatever's, safe for you. But what is not safe is fucking driving. So my friend and I decided to have a girls' day. Like, let's have a girls' day, and our daughters are besties. So we're like, let's take the girls out to Punk Rock Flea Market. So we went to Punk Rock Flea Market London, and it was a fucking blast. It was really well organized. All the tents were set up. I didn't get to go to all the tents because the kids, of course, we were la la la, let's walk around, do mom stuff. But the kids were and it's girls, right? It's a girls' day, so the little girls want to go see everything. And then they want to go inside all the stores too. So I didn't get to all the tents I wanted to. But I got to a lot of tents and I got a lot of neat stuff and got to talk to a lot of really nice folks that I know in the community. It was always nice to go with a friend who likes the same things as you do and your kids get along, and it's nice to have a girls' day and just get out and get out of the fucking house and get out of the monotonous mom role and stuff like that. Because everybody gets tired of that stuff. Sometimes you can still leave your parent hat on and still take it off at the same time. Punk Rock Flea Market always puts on an amazing community event. Like I would say, it was a nice girls' day. We got to take the kids into some fun stores and ran into so many fun friends and friendly faces and people that you know and people that are part of that community. Because it was just, it was just a plethora of hugs and kisses and greetings and stuff like that. And like I say, I was high as hell on life. I was high on life. I was high as hell on life. I came home and I cracked one of these. As soon as I knew I wasn't driving or going anywhere, I cracked one of these because they're 10 milligrams of THC. It's nothing on my scale. It's like doing 10 million on the Scoville for me. It's nothing. Nothing. 10 milligrams of THC in a drink isn't going to do much to someone of my caliber, let's just say, my practice. I cracked one of those when I got home, and I put on the band Sugar Jones, because this is called, Mary Jones, Mary Jane's. So I decided to put on Sugar Jones. It was a band that had, notoriety in the 90s. And listen to Days Like That and that album, and crack one of those and drink it. I didn't do any smoking. If I was my 15-year-old self, I would have put on The Dark Side of Oz, when the lion roars, then you drop the needle on the album, or Up in Smoke or something like that, or one of those million stoner movies like How High with Method Man and Redman, or any of those scary movies with Anna Faris. Anything with Anna Faris in it that's good. Cheech and Chong movies. I got maybe put on a Fish concert, a live Fish concert. I love Fish, jam bands. Maybe a Grateful Dead concert. Maybe put on Woodstock, anything like that. Friday. Maybe put on a Smiley Face. Speaking of Anna Faris, that movie's so funny. That one where she accidentally eats a ton of medicated edibles, baked goods, and she just thinks that they're regular. She just thought they were for her because I'm so hungry, I'm going to go in the fridge and get these. Her roommate's don't touch them. They're for me and my buds. She touches them. Again, it's one of those fuck around and find out situations. She fucked around, she found out there's a whole lot of weed in them baked goods, and she was fucked all day. And it's basically about her getting so high that she's almost unable to function. She greens out. Now that scares the hell out of me because she accidentally doses the hell out of herself unknowingly. And I've done that. And I've only done it once. And oh shit, God, was it horrible. It was fucking horrible. I would never wish that on my worst enemy. I was so stoned, I didn't know what to do with myself. I was in the corner crying, not talking. Not my finest little while. I was when I was that high on that amount of marijuana, like that I greened out, that I felt like I had OD'd on mushrooms and like I needed to be out in the wilderness or something to like escape my house because I was afraid to like be inside because I was that baked. It was not good. And that's a question someone actually sent me. Age restrictions on pot and THC. And to be honest, maybe you're going to think I have a uptight stick up my ass and I'm a real Karen about this. I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks. But developmentally, brains, I don't think that 19 is a great age. I think that 21 is a little bit more reasonable developmentally than 19 because I think those few years really change things and they can really make the difference. For example, I hear the younger kids, and I'm talking for the juveniles, so like 14 to 19, maybe 13 to 19, sometimes younger. I don't even know what you classify as a juvenile these days, so how young they get. They do these things, or what they call poppers now. So you got to remember that my generation, where I come from in the old school, I think when I hear the word poppers, I think immediately of it's a sex drug. Poppers were something that you could get at a sex shop. They'd come in a little tube, and when it opened, it would make a pop. And when you popped them open, you were supposed to inhale what was inside. Woo! And it would make you, it was like Spanish fly, Bill Cosby, gross. But it was supposed to make you feel like you could have sex. It's an amphetamine. So what I immediately thought, when I heard the kids are doing poppers these days, I was like, oh God, they're back? But what they're doing is not poppers. And I am not advising this in any way. This scared the shit out of me. They're filling their weed pipes and their hardware and stuff with tobacco, like pipe tobacco and stuff like that. And then, so they got the nicotine, right? And then they're putting weed on top. So they're getting like the nicotine hit like right away, which makes you high and like really dizzy. And then they're getting the weed hit after that makes you stay stoned or whatever. But like the thing that you don't realize is like, I'm seeing this from my point of view with a medical background. And I'm like losing my shit because I'm seeing this go through the body, like in my mind. And I know where it's going, like to the heart. And I know what's happening inside the body when you do a hit like that. Like that nicotine hitting you from that tobacco rush right away is going to make your heart beat irregularly. And it's going to give you tachycardia, which can like fuck up your heart really bad. It can really increase your heart rate and it can stop it. So I don't know if I'd be fucking with that so much. This poppers thing, this fucking ridiculous. I had someone who, I remember, rolled me a joint once and we smoked it. And I was like, whoa, I felt terrible after. I felt like I was going to throw up. And she's like, oh, that's a European joint. I'm like, what's in there? She's like, oh, we rolled it with tobacco. I'm like, whoa. Why'd you put that devil's fucking weed in it? That's not good. Not the devil's lettuce. That's devil's weed. Why would you put tobacco in there? Like, if you're going to smoke a cigarette, go smoke a cigarette. If you're going to smoke a clove, smoke a clove. If you're going to smoke a cigar, smoke a cigar. But don't mix tobacco with marijuana. I don't think that they mix. I think it's not good. It makes me puke. What I love to do when I do consume or anything like that is I love like jamming or stuff like that. Like I love jamming out on guitar or listening to music. When it comes to stoner bands, I'm fucking here for it. I love all the stoner bands. Like I'm almost always here for Taylor Swift. And I will tell you, her new album, I've been listening to the Tortured Poets Society. I listened to it like front to back, the double album. Explicit version by myself. I did not listen to it with the kids. Some time while I was working on like, you know, pouring oils, listening to fucking T-Swizz. You know, that's what I do. Fucking work the business, write the podcast, do the mom thing, do the kids thing, do the wife thing. And I fucking work at the grooming company. And I fucking listen to music. And I play music, obviously. And like that's, you know, the voiceover stuff. So I was listening to that. And, you know, it's really good. And I saw the new video that she did with Post Malone. And I was so like blown away that they AI'd out his tattoos. How the hell did they do that? I was fucking amazed. I was like, oh my God, Post Malone is naked. He looks like a little baby man. He looked like such a baby. Some hot sauce, some roasted garlic hot sauce. I didn't want to open the hot sauce like I got yesterday at Punk Rock Flea Market because I got it for my husband. And like, it's for Rob, so I didn't want to open his hot sauce. I tried it at the show and it's excellent. I want to put it on some fried chicken. Since I'm always having my lunch brunch clunch with you. It's great. It's made by a guy in Dutton. And he makes it here in town. So I'm going to bring that on the show once it's open and I'll show you about it. But like I say, there's lots of like great bands you can listen to that have to do with like weed. Like you'll find me listening to the Grateful Dead or Fish any day of the week. Those are bands that I love. But let me share with you this. I got a Basketball Jones. Any like the songs from the Cheech and Chong movie, I know up and down because I was raised in that generation that thought that kind of humor was hysterical, or were the kind of parents that thought Cheech and Chong was kind of funny, like my dad did. And so, of course, it got passed down to me, and I naturally thought it was funny because stoner humor or whatever. So, like, Basketball Jones, I got a Basketball Jones, I got a Basketball Jones. Like, I listened to that growing up so much, and like I say, my dad, he had a badass hash pipe that he used to keep in the garage, like I say. And he used to smoke it with a guy who lived beside us who was a lawyer, coincidentally. He used to smoke hash together. But that is a story for another day, my friends. I have a Father's Day show coming up. I'm sure that'll come up on Father's Day about my dad and his hash pipe. But like, there's lots of bands that I love. I love Jenny Lewis. Jenny Lewis is kind of like one of my go-tos for listening to music, like stoner musicians, because she's always got a joint in her hand, let's face it. She's fantastic. She sings like yacht rock, and it's really good to listen to. It's really like even keel. Lana Del Rey, I love listening to. There's always Greta Van Fleet, and I mean Led Zeppelin. Obviously, those two go together. What do you say? Like, come on now. And anyone who played at the original Woodstock, like OG Woodstock, not like break stuff Woodstock with like Limp Bizkit. I mean, real Woodstock. You know what I mean? But like Sublime. I love listening to like Sublime. I love Sublime. I've always liked them. Since they came out, I love them. But then I listened to like the Beach Boys because they're probably the stoniest band in American history. Most people don't know how many like drugs that the Beach Boys actually did and how much illicit activity the Beach Boys actually participated in, from, you know, drugs to prostitution, like solicitation of prostitutes to all kinds of things. They weren't like America's sweethearts like everyone said they were and pegged them out to be. Which I think that's funny, like to believe that the Beach Boys are the stoniest band, one of them in American in history. There's another common question: is pot and cannabis, is it a gateway drug? Does it lead to other things? Does it lead to harder drugs? Does it lead to more crime? Does it lead to more chance that you're going to perform poorly in school? Like, what are those statistics? What do they look like? And you know what? I've lived to see both. I've seen good and coming smoking pot. I've seen nothing kind of coming of smoking pot. I've seen bad things coming out of smoking pot. Like I've been on all the ends of it. I think it really depends on the person, their background, their trauma, all kinds of factors. I think really like go into the pot when things are of that nature are happening. One person's pain relief might be someone else's only method of coping. There might be their only mechanism, or there might be the only way they can mask whatever pain they have. So I can't turn my judgment and turn my nose up on too many people that do things, or it just depends how you are. Some people get completely bladdered out of their gourd, and that's the way they function. And that's, you know, probably not on government weed, because that's not going to get you blasted out of your gourd. You'll be having that homegrown shit. Like, I'm not going to lie. There's so many states in America where I'm just like, really, like, legalize it, Grandpa Joe. Like, you can make so much money. The last time we were in America, I suffered so hard because like there was nothing for me to. We were in so many dry states where we were not allowed to have marijuana, and I just think that President Biden should just legalize it. I said on some site yesterday, it says legalize it, Joe. Like, come on, let's hold up. Other states are way ahead of the game. I mean, they posted yesterday something about how no one should be jailed for marijuana, which I agree with. So that if no one should be jailed for it, legalize it and fix it. The end. Like, that's what you should do. Legalization is dope and stuff. Like, I'm not gonna lie. But, like, the feds sucked out some of the fun, yo. Like, they sucked out a lot of the THC, and what's regulated now is different than the pot. Like they say, like that I had when I was a kid, grow your own stone. If you want my advice, you're allowed to have a couple plants or whatever you can in your backyard, as long as no one's kissing in the bushes in your backyard. Get your fences up. And no animals or kids have access to it. You can grow your own, I guess. You know what I mean? It's legal. I don't think I'd go to a dealer this day and age, like with all like the fentanyl crisis and everything. That stuff's really scary. Like it's really scary. That kind of shit happens here. A homegrown with love is still, I think, top shelf and top drawer for me, top of the bill. Tip top. Homegrown is best because you know whose hands touch it. It's like home cooked meals. It's like making something from scratch. You know who made it, right? You did, right? So now, a serious side of weed is the munchies. My allergies are killing me. Excuse me. A really serious side of weed. Like, it's really serious. The munchies, like, because it can get bad. Like, you can want to eat everything in your whole kitchen, and all of a sudden you'll be driven to eat things you normally don't eat. And I'm the worst person for munchies because I never know what the fuck I want to eat. I'll probably talk about this later too. It's true. I end up having something so stupid like grits with cheese and bacon. Or like sausage, gravy, and biscuits. Like something so simple. Like, I am easy to fucking please. I am a really easy girl to please. I will take it. You can pay me in Mary Brown's fucking fried chicken. I'll do it for chicken. Okay? I'll do it for chicken. I may actually have another job. I'm going to see, because someone asked me because of carpentry with my dad. And growing up really, like, we grew up in a really white collar neighborhood, but we had a really blue collar, like, lifestyle. And that's what we really grew up with. That kind of, you have to get your hands dirty and you have to work fucking hard to make money. Because my dad did, right? My dad was a carpenter. He built houses. He framed houses. He made basements, he poured foundations, he did everything. Like, when I say he was a carpenter, I mean he was a fucking house builder. He did everything. Like, he even knew how to do plumbing, electricity. He knew how to do everything. So we grew up with the real blue collar notion that you had to get your fucking hands dirty and work your ass off to work. So it wasn't any of this dainty artist shit that like I'm into now. Like I still get my hands dirty. So this job is exciting for me because it came up and it's about taking out carpet and stuff like that and doing demolition. And I'm really kind of stoked. I'm going to see and give them an estimate and see what it looks like when I get the pictures and stuff like that. Because demolition for me is really fun. I'm really good at it. I do it fast and I do a really clean job. I just like to wear a mask so I don't get any particulate in my lungs. Because who knows what the fuck's underneath those carpets. You got to be really fucking careful when you are removing carpet. So this is something that I could do. It's a nod to both my parents because they worked and they busted their fucking asses so we could like live in like the white collar neighborhood we lived in with like doctors and lawyers. My parents were blue collar completely. Like, so that's kind of how like it went. They just busted their asses and they worked really hard and they saved their money and they did great. They did fucking great. They wanted us to have more than they did. And that's what most parents want for their fucking kids. They want to try harder. They want their kids to do better than they did. Most parents want to see their kids succeed harder than they succeeded. Most parents. I won't say that for all parents, because I've seen some parents be pretty fucked up to their kids and really root for themselves and put their kids last. I've seen that happen a lot, and it really bothers me. I talk to other moms about it. You know, moms talk to moms, and mom to mom, we think that stuff's weird. Competing against your own kids. It'll be the next show. It'll be the next Oprah. No, I'm just kidding. But I may, like I say, I may have a job. We're ripping shit up, and it's good. The stuff we all want for our kids is like better. So anywhere I can make more money, better. And I love physical labor, so it might just be some sunshine cleaning action. There'll be like bodies that have like died on the floor from partying too hard and like barfing their guts out. I have to go rip out the carpet. Awesome. And speaking of kids, like I say, since we had our kids downtown yesterday, and we went to the London Music Hall of Fame because the kids wanted to see, my daughter's like, to her friend, is like, this is where my mom's like stuff is with Kitty and stuff. And so the girls were like, let's go in. So me and the other like mom that I went with was like, she's my friend. She was like, okay, let's go in. I'm like, okay. I'm like, oh, sorry to stop here. But the girls just wanted to go in so bad. They wanted to stand on the stage and like do like rock out stuff. And it was just so cute, right? Because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is adorable. I'm like, and they want to have a band and everything like that. So it's like, I think it's adorable. But like driving other kids and especially other females to do whatever they want and learn to play is really important to me. And again, like being that safe space and soft place to fall for like women especially, but kids in general is really important because music is so important for their like social development. I think it's really, really important that they have that in their lives. So they got to visit the Music Hall of Fame and everything like that. And I'm used to the folks who generally run the place. And I was kind of like looking for them when I went in, but they weren't there. And there was like a lady that I didn't recognize who came to the door to kind of greet us. And she was like, oh, I left a kitty display open because I knew you'd be by. And I was like, what? I'm not actively in kitty like anymore. Like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? Well, they said a girl with red hair would be by to pick up these boots. I'm like, oh, well, that'd be one of the girls in kitty, like right now. Oh, they said they'd be here at this time. So here you are. I'm like, no, they're not going to have any kids with them. They're not going to be, no. She kept trying to shove these boots on me. And it was so funny. So I messaged one of the girls when I got home and I was like, did you get your boots? And she, of course, like kind of laughed too. It was like, oh my God, that's such a funny story that this crazy, like this lady in there, I don't know, she was celebrating 420 early or what, but she started talking to our kids and talking to them about rock and roll and how sometimes in rock and roll, this is just how it goes and this is the way it goes. And when my husband would play bass on stage, he'd have his bass and he'd have a beer in one hand, and he'd have a cigarette. These kids are 6 and 5 years old. I'm just like, well, when I played in a rock and roll band, I'd have a Sprite or I'd have a club soda or a Shirley Temple, and I don't smoke because that's yucky. I'm a secret smoker. My kids don't fucking know I smoke. I've done a show about that before. Just because you do it doesn't mean your kids need to know that you do it. I'm a secret fucking smoker. They don't need to smell it. They don't need to hear about it. They don't need to see it. They don't need to be conscious of it. Fuck that. It's not good for them, so they don't need to know about it. What they don't know won't hurt them. It's none of your fucking business. It drives me fucking crazy. So no. You can dial your fucking self back, I'm telling you. Like, this lady was talking to the kids like they were 20-year-olds. So I just told the kids, something else. I think she was probably, like I say, celebrating 420 early. But man, like, you can dial yourself back. If I can dial myself back, then you can dial yourself back. It's not that hard. So I'm just like, my kids do not know about this kind of shit. So fuck no. Do you think someone else's kid, I'm going to let someone else's kid know about that like stuff too? I'm going to keep them shielded like from it at that age. It's just not appropriate at all. I think I either just like try to be a role model for kids. And I think you should try to be a role model for kids generally and just dial yourself back and remember who you're around. Sometimes for a second, just like remember whose company you're keeping. That's what's important at the end of it all. Like, whatever your vices are, just get consent. Like, every household's different too. Some households are like, yeah, we smoke in the garage or wherever, and our kids know too because we smoke too. You never smoke over here. Some households don't smoke. Just kind of I go by the household. But I don't ever like to smoke anything around any kids that are going to smell me, because it's not good for the kids. So it's easy to leave your vices at the doorstep until after the kids go to bed. And they don't smell you and they don't see anything. You have a shower and wash it all off. No, thank you. Like I say, just don't, I don't know. Just don't spit it out, like your culture at people, like the culture of rock and roll. Don't spit it out your mouth. Like, keep your hands to yourself, keep your feet on the ground, and keep your spit in your mouth. Don't talk to little kids about getting drunk. That's just fucking weird. Baptized into rock and roll in kindergarten. That's just fucking amazing. Thank you, rock and roll place. So I had some sodas and a really, really strong edible. I had some sodas like this soda here and a really strong edible that I made myself. It was like around 300 milligrams. And I am not smoking because my allergies suck, because all the trees are like shitting all their shit everywhere in Canada right now. Plus I had a voice job and I had to sing and stuff like that. Otherwise, so it'll shred my voice. So I had a lot to eat. Like, oh my God. Like I say, I had grits and I had like bacon and cheese. And I had pickle barrel, which was like a roast beef dip sandwich with like fries and coleslaw. On a pretzel bun. Oh my God, it was ginormous. It was ginormous, the size of this thing. Oh my God, it was awesome. And so I had that. And after that, I think I had a piece of cheesecake. It's a slippery slope, man. Like, what do you have when you have the munchies? What's your go-to? What's your go-to snack? What do you type it below? Just let me know. What do you like? What do you like? What do you like? What do you like to eat? I listened to some records. I had a bubble bath because I had to warm up from the outside because it was cold yesterday. Then I watched a prison show. I started watching a movie, and then I got jiggy with it. No lie. True story. And then I went to sleep. True story. True story. It was like it was a lovely 420. I had a great 420. So ending on that note, you know where to find me. You can find me every week. You can find me every 2 weeks on YouTube or a stream where you stream. Anytime you want to listen to me, I'm there for you on YouTube at Tanya Candler channel. I am streaming anywhere you stream. You can hit the link up in my bio if you're on my Instagram. It's at 21st Century Rocker Mom. I'm there. I'm on TikTok generally. I'm trying to play to the older crowd now. Too many little kids following me. Yikes. And then, like I say, streaming wherever you stream. You hit the link above on my Instagram. If you wanted me to rock your hair or your beard, I am at the Rockaholic Grooming Company on Instagram. Otherwise, I'm on X. I think I'm like the Tanya Candler right now, or the real Tanya Candler, or something like that. I'm not really on there really to comment much. I'm there more to read the comments on X. Elon Musk pisses me off. He's such a little twat. Anyways, I'm streaming, like I say, all over the place. Hit the link tree if you want to know where I am. You can find me anywhere. Subscribe and you'll be able to get this beautiful mug every 2 weeks. And, you'll get to listen to me if you want to listen to me on Apple Music, if you're listening to me on Google Podcasts or Spotify, wherever you're listening to 21st Century Rock and Mob Podcast. I will see you cats next time. Meow, meow. I will see you on the flip-flop. Mwah. Be good to each other and have a good couple of weeks until we meet again.